Happy New Year and welcome. This is your life. Have you ever made New Year's resolutions only to get to the first week of January or even the end of January and wondered what happened to all those good intentions and then potentially made yourself wrong about it and go, oh, that's just because I haven't got the willpower or because I haven't got enough time or these kinds of things. This is what has always happened to me. I've gone for goals. I've gone for those good resolutions. Like literally, I'm that person. The diet starts on the 1st of Jan. And I say this with humility because we have a nutritionist in the room, but it's true. And I don't like what I see on the scales at the moment, and I blame the mince pies for that. But I have literally started that new healthy diet today. So I'm just one of those many millions of people that have started all those good intentions on the 1st of Jan. And so I've learned something over the past few years that makes a real difference and makes your wishes come true, basically. So there's setting the goals, there's setting the end results, and there's setting these things, and then there's what you believe about yourself, whether you do the things or you don't do the things. So for example, when hi there, so when I'm a little bit distracted, if you can mute yourself, there we go. So if you don't want to appear on the telly, if I publish it, then mute yourself. Okay, on the telly. So basically what happens is it's a typical storyline with a goal. So if I set a goal and then I go for it and I use willpower and loads of good methods to do the goal, and if for whatever reason or 10 I don't achieve the goal, then I can then blame myself and make it personal. Oh, that's because something about me. That's because I didn't have enough willpower, I don't have enough strength. Or at the end of it, when it gets really like undoable, I tend to blame myself and just go, oh, that's just because I'm a failure. So I write it off and make a judgment about myself about that. Oh, that's because those things happen to other people and other people seem to find that easy and I don't, for some reason, because I've got this or that reason why I can't do that thing. Does that resonate with you? If you give me a thumbs up. And so, right, the reason why I got inspired to do this New Year's Day, let's all just get together and create some dreams, some wishes, some projects, some wonderful things that you'd like to create for yourself and actually see them through to completion, is to share a really important message, which I've come to learn over the past 2 years since I've been studying this new methodology. And that is this, that the art of creation, when you want to create a thing, you want to create something. So first of all, you have an idea, right? So you have an idea, like for example, there's an idea. That's not very clear. I love a physical illustration. Right, there's an idea. I have an idea. And then the idea has to come out of my head and it goes into reality. It becomes reality according to some things that I do in order to make that idea come alive and become actual and practical. Otherwise, if I don't take steps towards that idea and make that project or that idea come to life or come to reality, then it just stays in my head as a really good idea. There, lots of really good panda ideas that stay in my head. And often people say that so-and-so is the best kept secret in their field, for example. And I think, well, that's sad, because it would be really good if whatever idea I have and that you have, if you want to, then you can bring it to reality and bring it to the world. May that be a book or what you do for a living or how you express yourself artistically or anything at all. And so the reason why I've shared all of that is because I've been studying and teaching personal development, which is this kind of stuff, for 31 years. And most of the things that I've studied, 95% of all those things I've studied and spent so much money and time and effort into learning, in my experience, are not effective, in the sense that it's not that they're not true, it's just that they're not effective in actually having an idea, having a goal, and seeing that through to its completion. So when people talk about New Year's resolutions, it's maybe about a thing that you would like to create or a way that you would like to be. And it's having an idea over here and bringing that into reality through a process called creation, or bringing a project to life. So it's my experience, and it means a lot to me. I really, really care about sharing this actually with as many people as possible, because many people like myself, you may be getting distracted and going down lots of different pathways trying to get to your desired outcome, but you may be running into some difficulties, running into some walls or roadblocks, or what many people call resistance, and not quite getting there. And this is what I want to directly talk about today, because many of the reasons why people don't get quite from A to B, from idea into reality, has got nothing to do with anything. So it's usually if I, for example, start to judge myself, any kind of judgment, I'm not good enough, I'm not perfect enough, or I'm too much of a failure, any kind of personal judgment, or if I start to judge the world, oh, that's because the world is so unkind, or it's so cruel, it's so unjust, any judgment I make about my environment, for there aren't enough resources, for example, then these ideas, these identities about the reasons why things don't happen can just get in the way. And it's like a really big, enormous bottom just sits on all these good ideas like this. Boom. And then ultimately it just becomes so difficult and so clouded that I can no longer see that which was my goal, my inspiration, my guiding star. And it's at that point that I'm likely just to give up and just, oh, that's because blah, 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 and then just give up, and maybe give up on my dreams, maybe give up on somebody else's dreams, and stop doing that lovely, lovely thing, that wonderful thing that I wanted to do. So does that land, or does that ring a bell for you? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to get straight to the point. So I really, really want you to have this, and I want to share what I know about creation. So if just for fun, just for this event, if you just pause everything that you know about spirituality, about personal development, about transformation, about lots and lots of things, and just hear this information. This is just about creation, how something comes into being. So the act of creation is just, first of all, having an idea here in my head or somewhere. I have an idea, boom, oh, I've got this idea. I've got this idea. Here's this panda shaped idea. And then I bring this idea over into its physical reality somehow, and I make it happen. I bring it to life. So the process of creation happens very, very simply as a, first of all, having the idea, which is the outcome, how I want this thing to look like and happen or be. the outcome, and then the point A over here as to where I am now in that process. So it's just the dance between 2 points, and then tracking my progress from where I am now over to where this outcome is. So it's as simple as that, without having any judgment onto it, without any other stuff at all. And then I'm just going to illustrate now what I mean by judgment. So there is a physical understanding, a physical premise that energy follows the path of least resistance. So in this example, I'm going to explain that in terms of water. So imagine that there is a riverbank like this, that there's a riverbank that goes from high to low, and it's raining, 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 just like it is now. And the water is landing along the riverbank, and the water goes down the easiest possible pathway. It goes down the path of least resistance. So where is, if you can put in the chat box, where would the water definitely and certainly end up in its outcome? Where is the outcome of that water as it's going down the path of least resistance? Downward, yeah, downward. And where will the water definitely come out? Will it land up over here, or will it land over here? Where will the water definitely come out? At the elbow, exactly, at the elbow. So absolutely, so energy follows the path of least resistance. In this example, and this may sound really simplistic, but I just really invite you to hear this and see it from another point of view. So imagine, so it's raining like absolute cats and dogs right now. It's raining pandas, and the water is going down the path of least resistance, and it's ending where the pathway ends. It's ending at the outcome, at the outcome. So does it matter then if the water has got lots of glitter and pink dye in it? Does that make any difference to the outcome of the path of least resistance? Do a this if yes, or do a no, or do a thumbs up or do a thumbs down. Does it make any difference to the water if you sprinkle glitter on it or pink dye so that it's pink and glittery? No, it doesn't. Okay. Does it make any difference if the water believed itself to be really good and loving, if it was loving water, and if there was prayers of love and gratitude on the water, like the emoto photos, and there was just beautiful prayers, and you even just stroked the water and it was loving and kind water? Does that make any difference? Where will that water, what outcome, where will that water still end up? If it's going, yeah, at the elbow. So it still ends up in the outcome. Why? And just hear this. Because it's going down the path of least resistance. Does it matter if the water, like the sea at the moment, if it's like angry and just really wild? Like right now, if it wasn't dark, I'd show you the sea, and it's like big waves, and it's full of mud and stuff, and it's trawling down the path of least resistance. Even if it's really angry and hates everything and is like rah and going rah and making a fierce stormy noise, where will the water, the angry water, still end up? Point to that. Yeah. Point B. So the second premise of creation is And that it's the energy flows down the path of least resistance. It goes down the path of least resistance. So wherever it's the easiest possible pathway, the things or the projects, in this case, as I'm talking about creating goals or New Year's resolutions, like I would love and I intend to lose weight, for example, like that's my January the 1st typical New Year's resolution. So the idea, the metaphor for the water here is it goes down the path of least resistance. So the premise number 2, and there's only 3 premises. The premise number 2 is it's the underlying structure that determines the path of least resistance. It's the underlying structure that determines the path of least resistance, and then of course, stands to reason, will determine the outcome. The underlying structure. So in this metaphor, in this example, the underlying structure is the riverbank. And the water goes down the path of least resistance, even if it's happy, glittery pink water or angry, intense, stormy water that's spitting stones and no matter on other things. So it's still going down the path of least resistance. It's the underlying structure that creates the path of least resistance, that determines where the water goes and will end up at the outcome. Okay, so let me talk about willpower. Even if the water had all the willpower in the world, like super strong, like mega monster amounts of willpower, if it had all the willpower to go a different direction, so the water itself wants to have a different outcome. It wants to end up somewhere else. And there is the path of least resistance. So what will happen, even if the water is mentally strong, is spiritually strong, is guts and grace, has been through loads of stuff and has resilience. So the water, where will the water go down? Lots of willpower, the willing to go to a different outcome. Where will the water still end up? And point to that, if you would, if this is resonating. Yeah, where was that? So yeah, does all the will, all the resilience, all the strength, all the rah, I'm gonna do this no matter what, rah, does that make the water, the outcome, does that make it different? Yes or no? Give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat. Will that make any difference? It won't. It won't. And that's not personal, because you and I may be like super knobs, super strong, willpower, really strong. I intend, I want, I create, I'm gonna do it. But what is really calling the shots? Is it your willpower and your strength and your intention and your visualization and your manifestation power, or is it the underlying structure? That the underlying structure creates the path of least resistance, not you, and it's not personal to you, and therefore determines the outcome. The outcome means the result. The result. So what does all this mean? And this is the point. Like, this is what I really care about sharing. It means that there's nothing wrong with you. It means that there's nothing wrong with your attitude, with your catitude, with your mindset, with your belief. Like, if that water really believes in itself, like, I really believe in myself, I believe, if I love myself, I believe in myself, where will the water still go down, and where will the outcome still be? So what I'm offering, what I offer, and imagine this year, being free of how you judge yourself. That's what I'm really offering. That's what I'm offering, because I have judged the living bleep out of myself all my life. I've called myself everything under the sun. I have blamed myself as an empath, as a sensitive, emotional person. Whenever anything goes wrong, that's because it's my fault. And that's because I'm bleep, 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 and blap. Okay, and then I can't do this and I can't do that and I can't do the other, and I'm a failure because I am this and that and bad thing and bad thing. And now the reason why I say that is that true according to this idea? And it's not like it's not a random idea, it's just a physical law. It's a law of physics. The water goes down the path of least resistance. And so it doesn't matter what I believe about myself. It doesn't matter if I'm resilient, if I'm strong. It doesn't matter if I'm weak. It doesn't matter if my mindset is really not good. It doesn't matter if I love myself or if I don't love myself. Relative to creating what I want, creating things, creating wonderful things for myself and for others. In terms of the creation process, in other areas, yes, it matters. I'm not saying it doesn't matter at all, but and this is really important to distinguish because it's very, very muddled out there. In terms of creating wonderful things for yourself, great, whatever you want in your life for yourself and for others, for the world, in terms of creating and getting to the outcome that you create and you going from A to B, it doesn't matter anything personal about you, because potentially it's just not about you personally at all. It's about the underlying structure. It's about the underlying structure. And if you understand and learn how to structure something so that whatever you put down that chute will end up at the outcome that you choose to create, then that's all you need to know. And it's got, and then ironically, you're going to potentially feel good about yourself, ironically, if you achieve outcomes that you want. Does that resonate? If you achieve this outcome and you create that book and you create this with your relationships and you create that with your home, or that with your job and your vocation, and create that with your community, default side effect, you'll probably feel pretty good about yourself as a side effect. But this is because you are in a creative structure. So it's the creation, it's the path of, it's the underlying structure that is going to make the thing happen, not your mindset, not if you're feeling low, not if you're feeling high, not if you're in bed, not if you're doing 100 reps around the park every day. It's just about the thing that you want to create and the steps that you take towards it. So in summary, for the first part, what I want to do now is just summarize and actually take away all of the layers that you may be under. I'm not going to make any assumptions. I was. So in my experience, I was under the layer of my attitude's wrong, my mindset is wrong, I don't love myself enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm too much of a failure, I'm too sensitive, I'm not this enough, and I'm not that enough, and all of these personal reasons. And the good news that I really want to share with you is that has nothing to do with how you create, with your creative process, with how you create your outcomes. And so that is the end of part one. And I would like to ask if anyone would like to come on and share, raise your hand and ask you, what are you getting? What are you getting so far? And if you want to share on the chat, or if you want to give me a wave and come off. And while you consider that, I'm going to read a comment here. And I want to respect everybody's anonymity. So I'm just going to say, somebody here has said, we have a very strong willpower. However, it is not our conscious choices, but the unconscious fear, anger, frustrations, and what we tell ourselves. Okay, that's a really, really interesting point. That's a really interesting point. So I'm going to really play with that. So we can have a strong willpower. So imagine the water's got strong willpower, but if the water has unconscious fear, anger, frustration, where will the water still end up? Have a think about that. Yeah, it's still gonna, unconscious beliefs, unconscious this, conscious that, subconscious, superconscious, energy still goes down the path of least resistance. Yeah. What else are you getting? Okay. Hello. I didn't notice the time. I'm here. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you. Okay. Explaining this so effortlessly, the path of least resistance. So can you consider, like, even today, have you judged yourself? Have you made yourself, oh, that's because I'm not blah, blah, or I'm too blah, blah, blah. That's why I can't create the outcome that I would like to create. Does that, I would love if whenever you ever think that, just remember the water going down, that underlying structure, and go, do you know what? It's not got nothing to do with me. It's just got to do with the outcome that I would love to create. All right, let's see. Our unconscious is the underlying surface. Gorgeous point. Is it? Or is it? Or is it? Now I'm going to go, that's okay. Now I'm going to explain the next part. I'm going to acknowledge the point that you've just made. So the unconscious is creating the, just to double check, only if we believe it is. Okay, really interesting. Really interesting. Thank you. All right, so unconscious is the underlying surface. Right, this is actually really, really good point. Really good point. So I'm going to explain this with a visual illustration, because I'm a visual person. I think that if I can see something, maybe if you can see something, you'll get it. It will just go, oh yeah, it's that. So in order to have a different outcome, so here's the outcome. Here's the regular default. Here's how things always go. Here's where it always ends up, whatever that may be for you. So if you want to change to a different outcome, imagine you wanted to change the outcome. The premise number 3 is, in order to change the path of least resistance, you have to what would you do? I'm going to ask you before I tell you. So if you want to have a different outcome, what would you do with the understanding of the path of least resistance and the underlying structure? What would you do? You would just choose it. Okay, even if you chose it. Even if you chose it. Okay. I'm going to illustrate what you've just said. Yeah. Keep going. Okay, we've got the results are in, scores on the doors. We've got choose it, keep going. Okay, really good answers. So there's all the water going. Really focus. Good. Really, really focus your energy on the outcome. All right. So I'm focusing my energy over there. New outcome. I don't want the same shit different day. I want nice things different day instead. This is my experience. Right? So if I really, really, really focus, yes, really, really focus, the water The water's still going down there. And I go, focus over there, you B, bleak water, focus over there. But the water's still going this way. Raise the standpoint. Okay, if I raise the standpoint, really good, really good. If I raise the standpoint, where's the water still ending up? The water's still ending up here. Really, really focus. But I want the water to end up over there where I achieve the outcome that I want over there. Okay. So it's still, so premise number 3, and a few of you have written this as well. So the premise is, if I want to change the outcome, I have to change the underlying structure here. So if I change, so imagine I dig, and I right, it's still raining everywhere, but anyway, I dig, build a new riverbank. There's my different outcome. There's where I want everything to end up over here as I define it. I want this to create this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing, and they all outcome, they end up over here. There I am. So the path of least resistance is then changed. So that's how I change the path of least resistance, by changing the underlying structure, not distinction, not by changing my unconscious patterns, not by changing how I believe about myself, not by trying to be stronger, not by trying to be more resilient, not by doing mindset work, not by healing myself. I just need to change the structure, and everything is going to go and end up where I want it to end up. And actually, it's going to end up in a different place. It's going to end up in a different place. So I just need to change the underlying structure, not change all the things about myself. Okay. How is that? What are you getting from that? Yeah. Transform the understructure. Yeah, correct. Raise the standpoint, lower the endpoint, have a nice riverbed. Move the riverbed to the outcome that you would like as well. Choose it, take action with the vision in mind until the structure changes. No, change the structure, then everything changes. So structure first. Structure first. Is anybody getting something? Would anybody like to, if you want to share with your voice, give me a wave and I will unmute you. Can you give an example of the structure? Yeah, brilliant. Okay. Another one, create the right conditions, focusing on the right. Yeah, I'm going to go on to that right now. Yeah. All right. Let's do that now. So in the physical world, with the water and the path of least resistance and the riverbed, it's the water and it's the riverbank. In the human experience, the underlying structure are something known as choices. And they are choices, not about things that you choose that you would like to create, not about things that you wish to come into reality, such as I create this book, for example, like a thing. But these, to change the underlying structure in the human experience, is to choose a directional choice, a foundational choice. And that is what changes the underlying structure in the human experience. I'm going to go through 5 choices, and these are choices about ways of being. They're choices about ways of being. So I know that you did say the unconscious patterns, and it does speak to this at this point here, within the understanding of structure. Within the understanding of structure, this makes it more clear. So I'm going to go through 5 foundational fundamental choices. And these choices you can imagine as a metaphor that they are like you're building a brand new house exactly where you would like it, with the views that you would love, in the materials that you would love, the size that you want it, with the rooms that you want it. And the underlying structure in this sense is the foundation of your house. So this is a metaphor for how you can build and create the projects that you would like to create this year. The projects, the choices, the outcomes, effectively the New Year's resolutions. So first of all, does that resonate? It's important to create the underlying structure so that whatever you choose will certainly end up where you would like it to end up, instead of the default, not the path of least resistance, but the path of shit resistance, as I like to call it. So let's do that now. So the way that I have found extremely effective to do the restructuring process in your human experience, in my human experience, and it's given me really amazing, very big results myself and with the people that I'm working with. And so the first one, I'm going to invite you, just listen to these choices and feel if that resonates with you, then receive that, and you can choose it in your mind or out loud. And if you don't, then don't. So you are always the one that's choosing. You are always the creator. So first of all, breathing in. Roll your shoulders. So breathing in. Fundamental choices in no particular order. I choose to be the predominant creative force in my life. I choose to be the predominant creative force in my life. Just invite you to feel that and notice. So there may be things in the world that you cannot control. However, if you choose to be the predominant creative force in your life, you are the one that is creating most of it. Yeah? As a new structure. As a new structure means you are powerful, not powerless. Yeah, one of the fundamental needs of the human being is to feel powerful. The next one, I choose to be true to myself. I choose to be true to myself. So that restructure, imagine your new riverbank this year, going along the easy flow pathway of you being true to yourself, of doing and choosing that which is really real for you, that has integrity, that feels true for you, whether it does with others. You are the predominant creator and you are going in alignment with your truth. Just feel that. Choose to be true to myself. The next one, I choose to be healthy. I choose new structure, new pathway. I choose to be healthy, means in body, in mind, in emotions, in spirit, in relationships, in finance, in my dynamics. I choose to be healthy. That's your new path. If you choose this, of ease, that everything's healthy according to your definition of that. It means you don't have to choose health goals so that you feel healthy, so that you don't feel pain. You already, the structure creates this outcome. You know, that one's so powerful. I've just got like an enormous hot flush. That one's blown me out. That's really great. Breathing in. I choose to be free. I choose to be free. Your pathway of least resistance. I choose to be free. Yeah, me too. And the last one, I choose to be whole. I choose to be whole. It means there's nothing missing. Nothing missing. Nothing wrong with you. Nothing missing. Nothing broken. I choose to be whole. Choose to be whole. That's your new pathway. Feel that. Yeah. Literally sweating. It's amazing. It's like middle of winter, freezing, and I'm sweating. I am. So the foundational choices are so powerful. Because it's the underlying structure. It's the underlying structure. So imagine, and I will send you this audio adventure because here's one I made earlier. I've pre-recorded a relaxing meditation with these 5 choices that it is helpful to receive and create that in the morning. So it's like you creating your day, creating your pathway so that I don't have to do stuff to prove this. Otherwise, in the day, I don't have to waste my energy on proving, hey, you listen to me, here's my truth, here's my boundary, and spend all that energy on that, right? Because I've already created that as my underlying structure, so it's already done, actually. And just before I came on this call, unfortunately, but actually helpfully, I had a really, really difficult conversation that was pushing all my boundaries. Okay. You know the ones. You know the ones. And it wasn't difficult for me because because I choose to be true to myself. I choose. I don't have to effort or work hard or fight my case to get that person to respect my boundary because I choose to be true to myself. I choose to be predominant creator and I choose to be free, and I'm coming from my wholeness and I'm dialoguing and relating in a way that is healthy. Then I'm simply, it takes all the work and for me, the rage and the frustration out of it. The person even said, oh, you're being like this and judgments and you're frustrated. I said, I'm not frustrated. I'm just not agreeing with what you're saying about me. Can you feel the difference between operating in life in your path of least resistance, from your wholeness, from your truth, but without having to go out and fight and justify and spend all that energy outside? But just know that because if you choose that every day, because you choose that's how it is. And in the past, these things would just knock me out for, it's natural discernment. Yeah. These things would knock me out for days and weeks. I'd just be, angry, and then I'd feel bad, and then I'd blame myself. And then it just, the vicious circle cycle would just keep on seesawing. Okay, so this is why this is important for me to share, because if you do this, if you cease, or if you blame yourself, then there is another way. There is another way by choosing your wholeness first. Now that's the end of Act 2. Okay, there's a third act to go, where I'll invite you to create now your, this is the moment of choice, where I'll invite you to create your choices, your New Year's resolutions. But before I do that, as a little check-in, what are you getting from when you change the underlying structure? You change your outcome. You change your outcome. And in the human experience, underlying structure is 5 fundamental choices. I choose to be true. I choose to be free. I choose to be whole. I choose to be healthy. And I choose to be the predominant creative force of my life. What are you getting? You may give me a wave and share, or write it in the chat. Yeah. Or even just take a breath and, receive. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Choose to be the predominant creator in my life. I really felt that. Like, you know what? Even if it's a written bit of thing, like a bit of tech on my computer, I actually felt the power of that. How do you feel choosing that? Like, if you can write a word, or like, I'm feeling stuff. Like, if a human being says to me, I choose to be the predominant creator, like, that's immense. That's incredible. In a world where, yeah, expansiveness. In a world where you are probably, maybe, being told what to do, think, and feel, and believe. So if one in charge, yeah, exactly. But in a natural way, not like not like with force, but it's choice. It's incredibly, I find it so moving. I really do. Like, this has helped me. I mean, I have to be really honest. I've only just understood, like, to a much deeper level in the last only 3 weeks. I've been doing this work for 2 years. Right, only in the last 3 weeks have I really gone into the foundational choices, and it is another world. I'm telling you, it's another world. Because before I did decide anything at all about anything, just to understand that what I believe about myself has got nothing to do with anything at all. How I see myself, how others see me, it's got nothing to do with what I'm creating, which we'll go on to next. Exactly, the freedom is incredible. It's the freedom. Yeah. It allows more space that was always there, but that was taken up by all the stuff. Now all that space is available to go ahead and create. So there's an understanding that the human being is intrinsically a creative being. It's creador. It's creator. Yeah, did you want to say something? Did you want to share? No, someone's waving. Hmm? Yeah, if you want to say something, unmute yourself. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it. Hello.
Hey, Charlotte. Hi there, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, thanks, Maria. It's really interesting. I've been writing down a few things, but so I was thinking I have like this looking at the least resistance. I have my neighbors that are quite bullying to me. So one of my sort of New Year's resolutions is to kind of just to step out of that, and I don't want to engage. So I was just thinking, how do I do that in the way that's least resistance with the structure? So that's the sort of question, really. I was feeling like that's helping me see that, step back, be, rather than thinking, I have to engage with them to a certain point, but it's like, because of certain decisions have to be made. One way that I stopped one of them being bullying to me was just to do emails only. That really helped. But then some people are actually in the flat, so I have to see them on a day-to-day basis. So I don't know if there was anything you can just sort of say around that in terms of staying true to myself, so that I'm just not all the time in like that, oh God, I've got to avoid them, I've got to avoid them. But then also, I think that I felt like there was something about me not caring so much, because I'm always very polite, I'm always very kind, I'm always like this, trying my hardest. And it's like, how do I come from that sort of truthful self of thinking, well, these people haven't been very nice to me, that's it. I just let them get on with their lives and I'll get on with mine. I don't know if there's anything, if there's anything you could reflect back on that for me. And that might be helpful to others. I don't know.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I really appreciate your sincerity with that. So here's what's happened to me about that same thing. Okay, so what's happened is in the past short while that I've been operating, it's like a new operating system, like the computer. So I've been operating from my fundamental choices, which is from my wholeness, my truth, and all of these things that we've just said. Now, what's really interesting is because I'm being me, it's harder for me to see. But luckily, my husband has reflected back to me and said, hey, the things that you would normally get really, really upset about or really angry about or really beat yourself up or just fight with in your head for weeks, like your structure is now doing the talking. Okay. So what does that mean? It means, like metaphorically, it means that water hasn't got to just micromanage and go, what do I say, not say, what do I be, not be, where do I stand, not stand. Right, this was me all my life, right? So that people don't hate me and attack me, and so that I can more or less survive in this world, right? Instead, the structure does the operating, and the structure moves the water through. What does that mean? In practical terms, how it's turned out for me is that I'm actually saying different things that I would normally not recognize myself to say. So I'm coming out with, is it me or is it because I'm going down different track lines? I'm saying things that are polite but very direct. For example, I do not agree. Thank you for your point of view. I acknowledge you. I hear you. I do not agree. I hear myself saying this. Okay. They don't like it. Of course they don't. They're not going to like it, but I've stayed true to myself. So that's one example of structural dynamics. Structural dynamics, because I choose my outcome is going to end up here. In a moment, we're going to do actual choices as well. Then everything starts to realign. So what you may notice if you do this every day is you may notice that you feel differently. You may notice that you are thinking differently. You may notice, like you've just said, that you actually care less about something, or you may notice, and this is my experience, that I've just got less personal hooking into that, because I understand what I feel embodied in my body. I feel like it's actually got nothing to do with me, or even with the person or the situation. And what's happening, and what may potentially happen if you play with this every day, is that the restructure starts to create the new way of operating. So that means what you will be inspired to say or not say, what you will be inspired to do or not do. And what does that create? Well, that creates a very different outcome. And who chose that different outcome? You did. You did. But without the war, like without the fighting, like I cannot stand fighting. Such a waste of life. You know, my point of view, your point of view, just boring. Well, why don't we just create what we want instead? So this is a way of doing that. And you know, it happens at a deep level, like it does happen at an energetic level, but from now into the next few days, into the first week of this 2024, just notice how you might see things differently. Notice if you have a different filter or if you have no filter. And notice how you are able to see actual reality as it is, without all the layers of you know what that people put over, people and society put over reality. And just notice that. So that's what I offer for that. And now I'm going to go into, oh, that's powerful, letting go of how to problem. Yeah. In a sense, yes, because how to do the thing or how to have the outcome that you want, you have already created that by creating your underlying structure. So it's really, so for example, imagine that there's like a super enthusiastic life coach or some transformational coach on Facebook going, hey, you can do it, you got this, woo, woo, woo. And they're just like muscle person, right? With the lycras on, and they go, you can do it, just go for it, you can do it, go, go, go. But imagine that's like a traditional, a legacy approach. But imagine that, but without the understanding and the playing in structure. Without playing in structure, where will all of that good intention go? You know, you got this, you got this, you go, 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 believe in yourself, love yourself, go, 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 go. But where will it go, 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 go? If now that you know about underlying structure creates the path of least resistance, you choose and you create your outcome. It's a different reality. It's a different paradigm. Right. So I've actually scheduled this call until past. So what I'd like to do next is actually get on with the doing your goals now. But just in case you may need to go, what I'd like to do, if you want to, as if you have any questions at all, just book a one-to-one with me and let's do a coffee and chat session and I can explain it to you as an idea. And also I have an audio adventure with all of the 5 fundamental choices. So if you can send me a text, because I've got no way of capturing all of the people that came on, if you send me a text, I can send you a link with that audio so that you can practice this. Right? And if you want to carry on talking about that and how you might want to move forward, how I may serve you, let's just have a conversation. Okay, how's that? Okay. Now the next bit, this is really, really, really brilliant, as it's Happy New Year. So inside of the new path of least resistance, as you choose that to be, as you create your new pathway of least resistance, so that all of your water, intention, creative vision ends up at the outcome that you want it to end up at. So inside of that, so imagine that that's the foundational choices are your overarching bubble. So inside of that, there are 2 other types of choices. One is your primary choices, which are what are your outcomes effectively. What are your outcomes? I want to, for example, write a book. That's one outcome. There's an outcome. And then your secondary choices are, what are the actions that will get you from A to B? So those are secondary choices. Okay. And your secondary choices, your actions, it is helpful to have a way of tracking that. Okay. Of tracking that progress, because when you do, you feel really, really motivated because you start seeing that progress. And it's really, really motivating because you're creating it. So you're creating it and you're getting your ball rolling. So there's fundamental choices. Fundamental choices are ways of being, choices that are choosing way of being, a wholeness way of being, a free and true way of being. Primary choices are the things that you would like to create. Secondary choices are the steps. It's really helpful to get that distinction of three categories of choices. Why? Because one of my clients that I was serving this week came with a whole lot of overwhelm. Oh, I want to do, actually two of them did. So I want to do this and I want to do that and then da da da, but I'm really overwhelmed and then I'm busy and then la 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 and then I just stop. And then I do that. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, it does to me. So when these two people actually understood, oh, okay, so it's the secondary choice of the how and what I do in order to get to the end result. It's what's taking the water down the easy slide. That takes the overwhelm off the table because that also then has a managed, clear pathway. Does that communicate to you? Sometimes it's a real challenge where there's just too much overwhelm, too many ideas. I'm like a too many ideas kind of person, and then it's just like I don't know where to start. Won't do anything then. So let's do the primary choices now. So if you have a notebook or in your mind or in a tech device, make a list. And I really invite you to just don't really think about it very much. Just see what comes through you, what comes out, and think about it. You can always edit this list afterwards. So make a list of everything that you want now until the rest of your life. From now onwards, all the things that you want. I love that smile. That's so beautiful. It's igniting the creator. So once again, and feel free to start, maybe just one word, maybe a picture, list of everything you want now and for the rest of your life on a personal and on a professional. I know you want that, on a personal and a professional level. You may also add qualities associated with that. So for example, I choose my primary, I'm so excited. I've got this beautiful new laptop and I'm going to hire an office for this month because it's the most inhospitable month here in England. And I'm going to go to this office with my new beautiful laptop called Henry to specifically end result, finish my book and actually do two more. So add the qualities of the books that I'm writing are just ridiculous and hilarious and outrageous. So there's a quality to it as well. So if you want to play with that, add a quality next to the things that you would like to create. You don't have to. You know you want that. Oh, so sweet. I know. Okay. Another example I can give you is I choose for my relationship with my husband to be playful. Playful and creative. So we're going to go to some dance classes next month. So that's what I've chosen. So you know what you're doing then is you're giving definition to all of these things that you send down your water chute. And as a, yeah, playful, as a pointer, do not, it doesn't matter if it's possible or not. It doesn't matter if it's possible or not, just all the things that you want. You know, one of the most beautiful questions in service of another human and in service of yourself is to ask, what do you really, really want? It's such a beautiful question. What do you really want? It's a way of just getting straight to the point. So another filter, you can always carry on afterwards, or we can do a call together and we can do these questions together. I'm at your service. Another filter is to run by your list, is to is to take away all the shoulds. So again, this is a really good example. One of my clients this week was saying, oh, so-and-so says I should do this. And they say that I should do that because I'm very good at this. Okay. So this is about what you want. You with respect to what other people want of you, but this is about you being true to yourself. And it's about what you want. So if you will, take away shoulds from others and expectations on your head from others. But this is you being in your creator. And so go through your list and do some editing. The next piece is play with ensuring that you've covered all of the components in your life. So for example, for me, it's like, well, I want to have this body that looks like this. I want to artistically express myself like this. I want my business to be an outcome like this. So if you will, cover all of the main components of your life. So in the earlier example of how you live and how you operate around your neighbors, you can choose something like that that would be your choice around that. You know, inside of your new path of least resistance. You know, I want to live in this way. I want to have a lovely experience in my home, in my environment. It could be something like that. All the components. And so then the next bit is really, really brilliant. And this surprised me when I did this because I was like, oh, really? Okay. So the next bit is go through your list and test it. Test it with yourself by asking the question, if you could have that now, if you could have that now, would you take it? It was like, there you go. Would you take it? It's a way of testing if something's true for you. So for example, that when I did this, I'd written this choice around, I want to be a thought leader in leadership, blah, 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 something or other. You know, I want to be known and famous about, oh, she's the la, 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 la expert. And then I went, all right, if you could have that, would you take it? And I went, no. It surprised me. I was like, no, I don't want that. Why would it's not true for me. You know, other things were really true. And that was like, not from my true to myself place. Didn't care about that. Because if you can actually take a goal off the table, it then focuses your incredible, amazing creator energy onto what you really, really want. You see? And that's why that's powerful. Now the final part is drum roll, hand the claps. Final bit is to officially choose your choices. Now, what does that mean? When you choose, when you make a choice, the expression of power of a human being is, as I understand it, you feel this if this is true for you, is what you choose. It's how you assert your power in the world. There's my choosing powerful arrow there. How you assert your power in the world is relative to what the choices that you make. Here's an example of that. I was having a conversation with an individual the other week, and it was conflicting. And in my mind, because I'm so aware of choices, I was thinking that's because of the choices that that person has made. Potentially why the outcome has come out where it's come out. I'm just doing a structural view of that. Can you visualize what I'm saying? So one of the most powerful things that I think you could ever do, that I have, one of my most powerful powers that I have, is I've taught myself to see things structurally. Because when you can see something structurally, you can see patterns and you can predict what's going to happen. Oh, if I keep doing the da 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 every da da da, the predictable likely future is going to be da 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 da. Oh, that person made these choices, and so predictably, what they're going to highly likely say next is da da. You know, they're going to serve that. Relative to the underlying pathway, relative to their choices. So this is structural thinking. And it's powerful service because it helps you to get out of all the and into the bigger picture of actually the real engineering of causation, of how things happen, so that you can choose how you want your things to happen. So with that said, it's now time, either out loud or in your mind. You're on mute, so it won't go out, or writing down. Make your choice then formally, and you can play with this, take as long as you like afterwards, or we can get on a call together and you can tell me them and I will serve those ends, those outcomes. I choose to create, and then write, your thing. I choose to write blah book, for example. I choose to perform music professionally. That's one of my choices. Yeah. So write out your choices in a way that makes sense to you with I choose. I choose. So then what you're doing there structurally, as you do that, I'll explain. So structurally, you've created your underlying structure such that your water will always, even if it's angry or happy or tired or full of energy, it will go no matter what it believes, no matter what mindset, what attitude, what catitude, it will always go down the new restructured path of flow, path of least resistance. And then your choices are almost like, you know, certain items then that you are sending down your pathway. And ultimately, along this journey, which I call the genius journey, ultimately, it is certain your outcomes will certainly happen. And everything in your life will reorganize over time how you want it to, without making it personal about you, without being personal about others, without having anything to do with what you think about yourself, what you think about others, what you think about the world, just because you've worked structurally. And you've taken your primary choices down your pathway. And the secondary choices, well, what do I need to do? Then I need to practice my guitar every day. That's a secondary choice. Whether I love it or don't love it, it's what I choose to do because I've chosen to be a professional musician. So every day I'm going further along towards my outcome in a path of ease, in a path of flow. So over time, and it takes as long as it does, over time, all your dreams will come true. Ta-da! Yeah. And if you're interested in how you can do this process either one-to-one with me or in the group that I've got, which is called the Genius Journey, yay, and have an accountability, like an actual project plan, so that you actually do it, not just sit there and intend it and visualize it, but actually do it, because that's a structure. A project plan is a structure that has integrity, and structure has integrity. If you're interested in either as a group or one-to-one with me, send me a text, because I've got you all on the text, and I can serve you with that. Okay. And send you this meditation, this audio adventure. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. I've really, it means a lot to me. This is so important to me because I believe it's possible to be free. I really do. And I believe that it's a structural thing. It's not about, oh, that's because I'm la 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 la, and all this usual same, what, different day, different decade, and people that are successful, whether they know it or not, are working structurally. They're working structurally and they achieve stuff. And if you achieve, imagine 5 things that you really, really want to achieve, well, how are you going to feel then about yourself? Will you believe in yourself? Probably. But you don't need to believe in yourself to have the outcomes that you want. That for me is really important. You don't need to. No, I've always believed I'm a failure and I'm this and I'm that. That's because people have told me horrible things about me that aren't true, but that I've believed because that they've said it enough times, that all of that, and sadly people get told lies about themselves. But why this is important for me to share is that none of that has got anything to do with you being your creator self and creating wonderful things for yourself and for others. It's got nothing to do with anything. The only thing that's important is your artistic vision and you going down your true pathway. Back. So if anyone would like to, thank you too, if anyone would like to share, what did you get or anything in the chat, then I'll give you a few moments to do that. And if not, Happy New Year and see you soon for a coffee, either online or in person, whenever it decides to stop raining.
Thank you, Maria. That's really great.
Um,
I did write down quite a lot, and I will consider what you've said. So I'll
Thank
think
you.
about it. Got plenty of ideas. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And thanks for what you offered because it was really relevant and helpful.
Right. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. All right
When
then.
he's gone to sleep.
No, that's nice. 1-to-1 with Maria, our goal. That's really fun. We had a really fun 1-to-1. If we can meet in person, we can do embodied as well. So we can hold hands and actually feel the weight of things. Because I find like I like to do things with visuals and stuff. Then if you feel it, you can feel it. Feel the truth of that for yourself rather than words. Thank you so much. Lots of love, lots to reflect about. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So see you soon. Send us a text if you need anything, any questions, and I'm here at your service. All right. Bye for now.
Gracias.
Gracias. Ciao. Happy New Year.
Gloria.
Bye, Bristol. Bye, Spain.